been sent
Supposed to go where it's not come channel. Is it on
somewhere.
Twitter?
It's been sent somewhere.
It's on Twitter.
मैं ऑन तो हूँ कैमरा का थिकनेस हो गया कैमरा बड़ा awkward है.
पर अगर मैं आपको लाइव देखूंगी तो आप बुक मेरे लिए स्पॉइल कर दोगे.
भाई
भैया.
तो कैमरा थिकनेस होगा.
कहाँ पे मिला तुझे? ट्विटर. ये लाइव आपको लिंक पे डालोगे बाद में? नहीं, एक सेकंड.
वाओ.
मुझे कॉल है. एक ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं.
Hello. My name is Saurabh. I don't know. Oh wait, I didn't correct them.
No, he's not so cute.
Hello. मेरा नाम सौरभ है. आवाज आ रही है? तो सुन तो सही. Thank you आरती. I know I'm on, but एक मिनट. Hello. आवाज आ रही है? चलो शुरू करें. Should I wait for 2 minutes? I don't know whether it's लिखता रहे बोला था. Wait, share, copy.
Oh, it's delayed over there. Yeah.
रेड्डी जी कैसे हो आप? गुड टू सी यू. लॉन्ग टाइम. ओके चलो अब शुरू करते हैं. विदाउट फर्दर अडू मेरे को द पॉइंट ऑफ डूइंग दिस लाइफ इज नो पॉइंट एट ऑल. वेट लेट मी गेट रिया आल्सो. Can I not clip these first few minutes from the world?
No. I can't write a point of a life. How are you able to text? It doesn't let me text.
You need to be super bad.
On the top chat.
चलो let's start. Okay, I'm starting. Okay, thank you so much. 2 3 4 5 लोग जो भी ट्रेन कर रहे हो, thank you so much. मेरा नाम सौरभ है, मुझे नहीं आता. And recently I read a book called The Art of Spending Money. And I realized that a lot of things that Morgan is talking about in this book are very close to my heart, and I can take a lot of lessons from my life. And I said, what do I do to be able to learn from there? And this video essentially is an attempt to reflect on whatever I've sort of learned from this book, and I will try to connect to some stories from my life, some incidents of people, and so on and so forth. The entire intention and the idea is to live in public and show the world कि मैं कितना अच्छा हूँ, कितना खराब हूँ, क्या मेरे flaws हैं, क्या मेरे challenges हैं, and then hopefully somebody will react and say कि भाई तू इतना सही है. ठीक है. So with that we'll start. This is a book that I read over the last 7-8 days. What I've done is, like with most books, I've underlined a lot of things and I've written a lot of side notes in the intention that someday I'll be famous and when I'm famous I will sell these copies at $1 each, and that money will come to me. Okay, nobody's laughing. So jokes are not cracking. Okay, cholo, shuru karte hain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip through the book and I'm going to read the underlying parts and I will talk about why those underlying parts are important to me and what is important for me to reflect upon. Okay, I'm just scrolling. Okay, this is not going as cool as I imagined. Okay, so I'm on page 4 and I've underlined a paragraph that says, I think buying nice stuff can bring you joy. And he also says, I love ambition, hard work, and most of it. And he says that after writing about money for 2 decades, I'm amazed how bad most of us are about what we want out of money. तो इसमें ना मैंने and then towards the end of it he paraphrases Carl Jung when he says that Carl Jung has spoken about what does he consider as basic factors for making of happiness in human mind, and he listed 5 things and I want to spend time on these 5 things. He says there are 5 things that make people happy. First, good physical and mental health. I think it's a very important thing. Physical health, because अभी मैं started Sarah college session के लिए and I was walking from my house, which is about 600 meters. To be honest, I'm tired. If I were a better physical health person, I would not be tired and I'd be a lot more energetic in this session and a lot less lucky about the sweat. Mental health, I think most people have already spoken and known about mental health. I want to spill more words on it. That's one. Second, he says good personal and intimate relationships, such as those of marriage, family, and friendships. So I've been extremely lucky in the friendship department. There are a lot of people who consider me as a good friend, and there are people that I consider as friends. People of you are already on this screen. Thank you so much for that. I have not been as lucky in the marriage department. I am not that great in the family department. My parents are for me. and that seems to be a challenge that I can't seem to get over. That's two. The third thing he talks about, Kalidas, is the faculty for pursuing activity in art and nature. I thought a lot about this when I was doing this. While I may not appreciate nature as much as people want to appreciate something. I don't appreciate. I don't appreciate
To be louder, I can hear the background and
nature. Okay, wait, somebody needs to do my tech check. I will not check. The edit voice of system. Okay, you will have to rebuild it. I cannot. Okay, so I'll have to hold it like this. Okay, तो मेरे पास आर्ट एंड ब्यूटी चैलेंज क्या है मेरे पास नेचर सॉरी आर्ट एंड नेचर तो नेचर आई एम नॉट वेरी वेरी keen on but the word thing with art is that I think I am moved by great art. For me, lately the expression of art that I've come to start liking is theater. There is a theater. It means live plays that I see around Nagar where I live. I make it a point to watch one or two plays every week. This week was particularly bad. In fact, today I wanted to see a play, but there's no good play playing today. So I tend to believe that that is what I appreciate. I also appreciate great writing, poetry, art, design. Like the wall in front of me is a hand painted wall where they painted fruits, coffee beans, I think, in golden color, and it's pretty amazing. I love it. I wish I could create that. Then the fourth thing that Carl Jung talks about is reasonable standards of living and satisfactory work. Now, standards of living is a very subjective conversation. But if somebody could say that I have a 20-bedroom house, and there could be an academic, and somebody could say that I have one room that I share with people, and they could be extremely happy with it. So, standard of living is आपका conversation, your conversation. The important thing is reasonable part to it, and I think I'm okay with that. And when I say reasonable, for me, what reasonable means is that I should have a personal space of my own. जहाँ पर कोई और ना आए. I should be able to make it up the way I want to. I should be able to put whatever objects I want to put there and then play with it. That's true. And satisfactory work. I mean, thing is, I am somebody who's not very excited about the kind of work I do. What I'm excited about is the kind of people I get to meet and the kind of things I learn and so on and so forth. So work हो या ना हो मुझे सफर नहीं होगा. So that also is not important for me at this point in time. The last thing he says is a philosophical or religious point of view capable of coping successfully with the word something vicissitudes life. I'm assuming that life के ups and downs जब आते हैं तो तुम्हारे पास कुछ philosophical religious point of view होना चाहिए. So the thing that I lean on to often is stoicism, and I believe that this too shall pass. So कुछ भी अच्छा होता है कुछ बुरा होता है. I tend to revert to that as a mean. So for example, if it is too hot, I'm okay with that. When it's गर्मी, I cannot control it, but I can do it. And there's an AC vent on top. And if I cannot control it, I instead of crying about it, I tend to say, "Yeah, okay, the important part is that these fights are important. The super important part is that Morgan says that money can affect all these fights. And this book is an attempt to use money, spend money to find those fighters. So that is one. Then, in the next page, I'm on page 6. He talks about the fact that spending money can buy happiness, but often an indirect path. What he is implying is that money cannot buy you happiness, but it can 100% buy you independence and purpose. In fact, this Puri book ka ek last thing if I were to identify, it would be independence. And what he means by independence is he's used it multiple times. I have used it multiple times in my life as well. The ability to do what I want to do with who I want to do for as long as I want to do and where I want to do and so on and so forth. Like I do not get controlled by anybody else. And that seems to be the number one point of this conversation and this book that how money enables you is by doing those things. And I think that's a very, very important lesson. In fact, I tend to often tend to look at things which will give me independence over things that will give me money and so on and so forth. So I think I'm fairly index highly on that, and I ensure that each person that I work with and each thing I do give me more independence than what I have today. So that's that. Then on the next page, uh, he talks about the fact that when you think about better life, people want to choose life which gives them uh, one with more money. But he often says that instead of that, you need to figure out a life that truly feeds your soul. So your soul could be fed by cooking in the kitchen. Your soul could be fed by talking to people. Your soul could be fed by making last minutes. You need to find a way that feeds your soul and be around that. In fact, there's also a lesson that Naval often says. Naval says that you are unique in what you do. Is do things that seem like play to you. That is even the happy to listen to Naval's note that, that for him what he says is आपके लिए जो play है वो सामने वाले इंसान के लिए play हो या ना हो नहीं पता, but it has to play for you. So what can you find things that are play for you and not for the play? So that's that. Then I think that finishes the first chapter, zero chapter. Then I'm looking at. Okay, then there's a thing that I've taken a note for myself because I'm guilty of doing this. He says, I'm going to read. He says, there's a saying, never make fun of someone for mispronouncing a word because it means they learned it from reading. As a corollary, never make fun of someone how someone spends money because they've learned it from living. Now, I'm very guilty of people who do not get very guilty of making fun of people who do not pronounce things or who cannot use chopsticks. I mean, I cannot use chopsticks, but I also make fun of people who go to fancy restaurants who can't use chopsticks. The thought here is that these are my limitations as a human being that I tend to just them fairly fast, very fast, very with a short sight. I need to change that. Like if tomorrow if I see an Anshika making uh, misusing money to buy stupid things, I don't want to just judge her for being a rich brat. I want to be saying that that's what that's how she's learned and she will also learn. So that's the thing that I need to change into my life as I uh, go along. Uh, Okay, there is a quote by a gentleman called Robert Quillen. It says, "The more you are snubbed while poor, the more you enjoy displaying your wealth." And I can 100% relate to this. When I was growing up, I didn't really grow up in a lot of uh, riches and a lot of abundance. I had to look at a lot of things with a limitation kind of a mindset. हर चीज इनकी आती थी हमारे पास. तो I can totally see it now because I grew up in that kind of environment. Today, I have this intrinsic inherent need to show off the fact that I have a lot of money. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but I have this insane, uh, 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 what do you call it, need to be able to uh, live a good life and project that good life to other people. And that's something that I'm guilty of. Not that I buy fancy clothes, not that I live in a fancy house, not that I drive a fancy car, but I love the idea of using my money to get access, which is obviously something that I was never a lot as a kid, and that seems to have become a driving factor for me. So I want to change that. इसी के थोड़ा नीचे एक और लाइन है वेरी सेइंग they were trying to heal an emotional pain. तो मेरे केस में the lack of money was very significant that I'm trying to heal that as I go along in life. Then there is one more part, similar part where I have taken a note called me and a question mark and again that's true for that. Then there's one more paragraph, one more piece where he says people are not rational, they are rationalizing. Most of us know about that. Most of us tend to rationalize the decision after we have taken it. We don't really take rational decision, we take the decision and then find extra arguments and reason and excuses to make it in our favor. So that's that. Uh, there's this interesting uh, thought that says consensus realities are mostly the result of geography. Okay, background noise. I do not know what to do with background noise. AK, do you have a lot of background noise? AK. Do I have a lot of background noise? What can I do about
You
it?
pay a lot of attention, yes.
So what do I do? Okay, we'll take a 10-second pause to fix the audio. I do not know what to do with it.
We can do one more live and we can try connecting the mic to your laptop.
Uh,
Is one option.
Ladies and gents, allow me 10 seconds. I'm going to fix this. 10 seconds, नहीं होगा तो time. Mohit Rukja, thank you for doing this. How do I fix the audio here? There should be an option.
You output the earphone.
Pause कैसे होता है? Pause भी नहीं होता है. Okay, I will join back in 10 seconds. Take the headphone, I might. I have a pink thing as a mic. Hello, hello. Is it any better, Mohit?
Yes.
Any
Oh, no,
better?
it's so much better.
Can you hear me?
Way better.
Mohit, let Mohit say yes or no. I don't know if Mohit is around or not. Mohit. पटेल जी, yes better. कमीने और अच्छा बोलना. ठीक है, चलो. I don't know what was the last point I was making, but I will continue from there on. Um, okay, then there's a very important point that this person is making, wherein he's saying that drugs may be a recreational pastime for the rich, but for the poor, they're often a gateway of further pain. So now this is something very interesting. Like drug is obviously a thing that he talks about. कि भाई, it's a addictive, substance that heightens your emotional state. Now anything in that space could be that, and drug could mean anything that gives you that kind of a high, and that is something that we need to work upon. And next time you have that, you should actually think too much about a lot more about it. Am I audible? I don't think I'm audible. AK, am I
You're
audible?
audible. Yeah.
Okay, I'm audible.
Fully.
Okay. Uh, then one more line he says is that personal finance is a lot more personal than it is finance, which is again interesting because what he says is that what is right for you in terms of money may not be right for somebody else in terms of their money. So we need to be understanding that each thing that we do on personal finance has to be personal for you as an individual and has to work for you. So that's that. Um, then he says one more interesting thing that no matter how you live, then your people, friends, family, co-workers, online trolls are quick and eager to tell you how you're doing it wrong. So that's something that I've also realized that my personal finance dictates that I spend a lot of my money and energy and time on experiences and travel. And all my friends seem to be telling me, "यार जब पैसे नहीं होते तो क्यों travel करता है?" And there are a lot of people who say, "Why don't you save and not spend so much money at Starbucks?" And that's something that I am unable to explain to them. So personal finance is where it is. I need to not make those basic mistakes, and once I make those mistakes, I want to prevent those. But apart from that, everything else should be uh, uh, customized and tweaked for me to be able to make a decision on their own. So that then he talks about something. Okay, this should be better now. Is it better now? It become better now? No, hello. No, it didn't get better. Damn, I don't know what to do to fix the mic, but okay, we'll live with it. Okay, moves to the next chapter, chapter number 2. It says you think you want nice stuff, but what you really want is respect, admiration, and attention. This is true for a lot of money conversations. Matlab, every person who buys a very big car, which is a very large percentage of their assets, is not buying the car because they believe in that brand, they believe in that product. They're buying that car because they believe that having that car will give them the turning of heads of strangers and give them that validation from the world. So next time you buy something, like ऑलवेज थिंक कि तुम कोई भी चीज़ खरीद रहे हो, वो तुम किसके लिए खरीद रहे हो? खुद की यूटिलिटी के लिए, खुद के मजे के लिए, या किसी को पॉइंट प्रूव करने के लिए. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल एयरपॉड्स प्रो मैक्स विच अंशिका वेयर्स प्राउडली. आई बिलीव दैट इज अ ऑब्जेक्ट ओनली बॉट टू शो द वर्ल्ड कि देखो मेरे पास बहुत सारे पैसे हैं या बहुत सारा एफर्ट है. दैट्स गेट्स अपीयरेंस विद एंड बाय अंशिका. So the point is, people buy that object only to make it a point. We should not buy things only because of to prove something to somebody else. So that's something that I want to internalize because I also tend to do a lot of things for that as a trigger. Then this is something really cool. He says, and this is something I've done for myself, and I think you should do it for yourself as well. Page number 26. He says, write down what you want on your obituary and what you want it to say, and then figure out how to live it up. So one example that he gives is that most people want to write on their obituary that you were loved, you were respected, you were admired, you were helpful, you were a good spouse, and you were a caring friend. You made a contribution to your industry, and you were wise and funny and smart. At no point in time he says that nobody writes that I was here lies a man who bought a BMW's 10 series at the 10th birthday and BMW 18 series or whatever series that will be around on 20th birthday. So it's never going to be in the money sense. It will always going to be in the contribution to the world society space, and that is something that I want to also live for. Um that's interesting to me. Uh, 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 then he says, which is an interesting line, and I've seen this in a couple of my friends. I obviously cannot name them because it's a negative thing. He says that there are cases when people's desire to show off fancy stuff is there because it's their last remaining or even the only way to gain respect and admiration. And this is very, very important. The world that we live in, wherein every person is constantly judged by Instagram likes and people who follow them and talk to them and so on and so forth. Now, a lot of people don't really have the depth of humanity to live the life the way they want to. What happens is that they will start making this doubt claims. They will say मैंने इस कंपनी से पैसे उठाए हैं, मेरे पास ये क्लाइंट है, मैंने एग्जिट किया है, मेरे पास 15 लोग काम करते हैं, etc etc. Now that becomes their only way to acquire respect and admiration for other people. So each time when you get something, try to see if it is you're doing it for respect or admiration or you're doing it really for yourself. इसका एक और सब पॉइंट आएगा जो अगले चैप्टर में आएगा. I don't want to spoil it. I will come back to it, but actually, okay, I'll come back to. I'll talk about the next thing. He says that each time you get something, you should ask how effective is it, how durable is it, and finally, who's paying attention. What he means by that is that okay, durability. Like if I impress you with my car today, how long will you stay impressed? कार के लेकर तुम एक बार impress हो जाओगे, दो बार impress हो जाओगे, तीन बार impress हो जाओगे, but will you be impressed after 15 years? Probably no, because by that time you would have moved on and the car would have lost the novelty and utility. And then who's paying attention? Is the attention being paid by a stranger? Is the attention being paid by your family? Is the attention being paid by you yourself? Is the attention being paid by your network? Who's paying attention and who are you doing it for? Like for example, if you buy a yellow suit which is very very well fitting, you're probably getting a lot of attention from say a lot of strangers for being the purple cow. But is it giving that durable attention to you after that thing has passed on? So that's something that is important. Um, 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 I've written somewhere in my notes, it says cancel Amex. I have an Amex membership card, which is obviously a lot of money, so I'm going to cancel that. And if Amex loses a customer, it will be because of Morgan Housel. So that that is that I'm going to move from there on. Okay, I can get delayed laughs, so that means there is a lag of 30 seconds. Okay. Um, okay. Okay, there is one line that I've underlined. I was saying underlined. Underlined. It says, those who value extrinsic pride have less bandwidth to pursue intrinsic point. It's a very very interesting line. Those who value extrinsic pride have less bandwidth to pursue intrinsic pride. Now, if you sit with this line for a couple of minutes, you will realize कि हाँ यार मतलब जो लोग बिल्कुल ही सुपरफिशियल जिंदगी जी रहे हैं they probably are very hollow from deep down, and then that is what you want to be able to move on from there. uh, okay, next. uh, Okay, he gives an example, Morgan, on page number 32. He gives an example that a lot of us want to have a large house. Often he says that the utility of the large house is because you say that you'll be able to show off to the world कि देखो मेरा घर 5 bedroom का घर है, 20 crore का घर है. In fact, a few days ago on WhatsApp group, one of my friends said that one of his friends had gone to play dandiya, and dandiya खेलते खेलते उसने 20 crore का घर खरीद लिया. Now that 20 crore का घर खरीद लिया is a very important thing for my friend to talk about. But what they are missing is that the bigger house is not just about the number that you show, but it should be also looked at from the sense of what that house allows you to do. Like for example, if I have a 20-bedroom house, I will open that house to all my friends and family and strangers to come and live with me and be with me and build a lot of memories with each other. The utility of that will give me happiness. The happiness will not come from having a 20-bedroom house. Happiness will come from all the people living together, doing great things and living together and having fun with each other. So the idea which Morgan says, and I also validate, is that he says I love the idea that my friends and family can benefit from the nice things I have purchased. In fact, reminds me of one of my lifelong beliefs, which says साई इतना दीजिए जिसमें कुटुंब समाए मैं भूखा न रहूं साधु भूखा न जाए. So it is exactly that I want my money to become a driver, a vehicle, a object, a tool that allows me and my friend and my family and my network to actually do more with their lives. Then he talks about uh, uh, yeah, that's the second chapter. That's the end of the second chapter. The third chapter is talks about the happiest people he knows, and where he talks about he writes a line. He says, "True happiness is when you stop asking what else you need to be happy," and that's a very deep answer. And this is very true from a Stoic lens also. In fact, this is a lesson that I've been living with for a long time now. That जो जो next चीज का pursuit होता है ना, that often fucks us up in terms of our expectations. Can I not look at the next thing? Can I look at the current thing I have, and can I try to stop there? And then if something comes to me, great. If it doesn't, I'm okay. But the expectation of the next thing is the one that becomes a problem. He says desire is a hidden form of debt that must be repaid before you get to feel any happiness. It's a very deep and interesting line. He says, I'll repeat, desire is a hidden form of debt. मतलब वो आपके ऊपर उधार है desire that तुम्हें वो पे करना पड़ेगा before you can feel happy, and that is something very uh, interesting. And then he makes this interesting graph where he says the value of an object is different. He says the value of object before you have it is very high. When you have it, it is very low, and when you lose it, it becomes high again. So बोलते हैं ना घर की मुर्गी. Once you have a घर की मुर्गी, you don't really care about it much because तुम्हारे घर की है. But तुम्हारे पास नहीं होती तो चली जाती है. इनफैक्ट एक और चीज़ है जो मैं किसी को बता रहा था कल परसों, चांदनी अंश को किसी को बता रहा था कि we tend to suffer more in imagination, we tend to rejoice more in imagination. So जितनी हम imagination करते हैं उसी में हमारी खुशी, उसी में हमारा दुख होता है. So I want to be not thinking and imagining a scenario for tomorrow. I want to be living in today. All I care about is today, right now, 3:57 on a Saturday at a Starbucks. I don't care about what will happen tomorrow, what will happen day after. मुझे आज का पता है, मुझे आज का ये पता है कि मैं कुछ अपने lessons डालना चाह रहा हूँ, and there are 4 5 people who are listening in, and that to me is a extremely valid thing, and I want to do a show for these 5 people so that they get the most value from this time they're spending with me on a Saturday. So that, right? He talks about how anticipation of getting new stuff often is a problem by itself. So anticipation is not a problem, is not a thing. uh, Okay, then there's one more line that I've underlined. It says the best measure of wealth is what you have minus what you want. Now that's again a very interesting line to have. What you have minus what you want. Imagine आपको want आपकी zero है. That means that what you have is a lot, and that you are actually a lot of very happy man. And if you have only 5 things that you want, 500 things, you're actually looking at a minus 495 as a unit, and that means that you'll be unhappy as an individual. So that now, when I was reading this, I had a question that, does that mean that I have no wants or no desires? And he answered this in the next few lines. He says, desiring less does not mean giving up. It doesn't mean that you don't know how to spend money and have a good time. He says to be content with what you have is the deepest way to enjoy the house you purchased. I mean, he's just getting into that. But the point is that he's saying, कि अगर तुम content हो, तो then you will be able to enjoy what you have a lot more than what you want to have, and what you want to have will keep adding to what else could you be doing. Uh, Next chapter, I'm just reading. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading. Then अभी मैंने बहुत सारी गन्ने की बात करी, so एक मैंने line underline करी है. Statistically, the happiest states in America are 3 4 states is mentioned, and he's saying these are the states which have the most insulting climates in the hemisphere. And मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर मैं कहीं cold, in fact मैंने अपने blog पे लिखा था last 2 3 weeks पहले कि if I live in a colder environment here, I'll be probably more productive. But he's saying that, that's just a stream of consciousness, and probably I will discard this lesson from Morgan Housel and say कि ठीक है, good for people, good for the world, but I would rather be living in a place which is a little more colder, because I like to enjoy walking out on the road, which I cannot do in Bombay or Delhi. So that um, okay, this is super important. He says if you're already an unhappy person, it's unlikely that more money will ever fix your problems. इसमें ना मेरा एक thought है. In fact, this is a thing that I think who's that gym guy, man, that buff guy, acquire.com का आदमी, Hormozy, Alex Hormozy, उसका एक वीडियो है, थोड़े दिन पहले देखा मैंने. उस वीडियो में ना उसने बहुत सी बात बोली. उसने बोला कि हर इंसान का एक मीन लेवल ऑफ हैप्पीनेस होता है. किसी का बहुत ऊपर होता है, किसी का बहुत नीचे होता है. और हमें लगता है कि once we get objects, we will be able to get more or get less. Now the thing is, we want to be able to find what is our mean level happiness, And we need to know that whatever money you make, that mean level of happiness will not change. If you come into money, it will probably go up a lot. If you lose money, it will go down a bit, but you will always go back to the mean level. In fact, there are a lot of examples wherein a lot of lottery winners have been spoken about and talked about, wherein they have won lotteries, and yet uske baad they have been able to live a very very good life for a few days, and then they've come back to the mean. In fact, in some cases, they've actually gone down to a lot of ruin as well, and that's something that was super interesting for me to know. And funnily, मतलब last 3-4 दिन में काफी लोगों ने उसके बारे में बात करी है, मतलब हॉर्मोजी बात कर रहा है, ये बुक मैंने पढ़ ली है, and that's something that I had known intuitively at a point in time also. So that then there's a line that I've written a lot, that I've underlined. It says everyone is jealous of what you got, no one is jealous of how you got it. मतलब वो हमें इंस्टाग्राम पे लोगों की अच्छी लाइफ दिखती है कि वो प्राइवेट जेट में जा रहा है, फिट बॉडी है, डेटिंग सुपर मॉडल्स है, एक्टर बना हुआ है, बट वी डोंट सी द years and years of effort that he's put in. He or she, pardon my gender lens, he or she has put in to become that great of an athlete or a sports person or a film star. So nobody sees and nobody is jealous of the how behind your success, and that's something that we need to be also be aware of. That next time you think you catch yourself being jealous of somebody else's money, you need to know how they got it. Like for example, I can reflect upon this. These 20-year-old kids are doing this AI film festival in Bombay, and that's an idea that I had. I think 3 months ago with my people at C4E, and we thought we'll do it, and we couldn't even pull it off. We couldn't even get 5 people to come and find their applications. Now, here's the thing: we may be envious and jealous of how these young people have been able to acquire such a large following. I have no clue how they were able to do that, but I have not been able to see the how behind it. If I see the how, probably I'll know कि उन लोगों ने इतनी मेहनत करी है. I have no clue how to go about that. अंकुर, hi. Question, I do not know audible है कि नहीं है, but ये book तो है और बहुत बढ़िया book है. You should read it for sure. Uh, by the way, for everybody else, Ankur was one of those people that told me 5 years ago in the time of COVID कि सब छोड़ के हमें यूट्यूबर बनाना चाहिए, बट मैं नहीं बना. तो अंकुर, sorry for that, and I'm trying to now change it. Too late. I don't know if it will happen or not, but let's see. Okay. Um. Okay. Then the next chapter he says that the most valuable financial asset is not needing to impress anybody, and that's something that I think I'm known for a long time. The fact is that I don't think I work and operate from a lens of either teaching anybody or telling anybody. So that's proving anything to anybody. So that's where I am at. So I think this entire chapter was exactly that. Um. Okay. Next page. Sorry, the page is stuck. Okay. Okay, this chapter is a boring chapter to be honest. Okay, this chapter ends by this line that I've underlined. It says the natural desire. It says being independent, following your quirky habits, and doing what you want when you want with whom you want. That is what I think I also want to index my life upon to as much as possible. And I think I've got a lot of it already. I just need to find a way to ensure that it goes to even the people that I love and people that I spend uh, time with. So that um okay, then in the next chapter he talks about a very very extreme example, and I think I love this extreme example. In this example, he says that a 40-year-old guy starts to figure out how to sees what at the age of 40 he starts seeing for the first time. And when he's walking out of the doctor's clinic, he's amazed at everything around him. वो कारपेट देख के खुश हो रहा है, वो पोस्टर देख के खुश हो रहा है, वो पत्ते देख के खुश हो रहा है, वो स्काई का ब्लू कलर है वो देख के खुश हो रहा है. The point is, because he's seeing it for the first time, each thing brings him desire, brings him joy and happiness. This is what he says, that if you are perpetually rich, the fact that you are so rich, you are oblivious to so much of beauty and art in day-to-day life. If you can only experience great things once in a while, you will probably value and cherish them a lot more. So, for example, if you go for a holiday and you get to stay at a very very fancy hotel that gives you the best service and pampers you like a king, if you do it once in a while, you will value it and cherish it a lot more. But if you get it every day, you'll probably not enjoy it, because then it will become commonplace for you, and you'll be like, "Yeah, ठीक ही है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है?" And that is also a lesson that he makes, that you need to find a way to constantly find those edges in happiness, edges in experiences that can give you the happiness once in a while. वो रोज का जो चीज बन जाएगी ना वो बोरिंग हो जाएगी. That is what it says, and I love what it says. मतलब uh, I like it. In fact, one of the lines that I have written and I love it. He says, "Going from nothing to something can be so much more powerful than going from a lot to even more." In fact, मेरे यहाँ पे जब मैं कैट की तैयारी कर रहा था 20 साल पहले, तो उस टाइम पे मैं पढ़ रहा था कि इट्स वेरी वेरी इजी टू गेट 95 परसेंटाइल इफ यू आर 80 परसेंटाइल स्टूडेंट. यू कैन पुट इन एफर्ट टू गेट टू 95. But to get a 90 from 95 is going to be extremely difficult and extremely hardworking. So you need to figure out कि तुम्हें किस बैटल में कहाँ पर जाना है. और मेरे केस में भी जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल टुडे आई एम एट अ प्लेस वेयर आई एम समथिंग ऑलरेडी. मतलब मैं नथिंग नहीं हूँ, मैं कहीं पे हूँ. तो पॉइंट इज if I were to start from zero all over again, I probably would be a lot more. It will be a lot more joyful as a ride compared to taking my company from a 5 crore company to 10 crore company. To be honest, so that is the joy that he talks about, and that is where I think I need to rewire uh, some of my beliefs. He also says that some of the being happy with the money is backing the hedonic treadmill, the ability to become accustomed to something that you once considered luxury. Like there was a time that coming to Starbucks was a luxury for me. मतलब शुरू में आता था मैं तो हर बार आता था तो मैं फोटो खींचता था कि Starbucks आया हूँ. Now I don't really give two hoots about being at Starbucks because it's become a commonplace for me. I do not know what the next thing for me would be. And here's a good part, at least for me in my head when I was reading this book, कि मेरे को आज भी ना Starbucks चाहिए. I don't crave for those experiences of going into those fancier coffee shops. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of fancy coffee shops. At least मेरे घर के आसपास there is Silk Road Cafe करके कुछ है. There is Shelter. I don't crave to go there. I'm very happy with my Starbucks because I found that irrespective of the money and time and energy I spend, the amount of happiness I get at Starbucks is unparalleled, and I'm okay with this. मतलब मुझे इसका next नहीं चाहिए. So the point is once you find that optimal level of life for yourself, you don't have to go beyond that. So that is where I have come to with Starbucks. With clothes, look at this t-shirt that I'm wearing. I think it's a Cotton World or HM, I don't know, H&M t-shirt or whatever. I'm very okay with this. I have zero want or love for these designer t-shirts or these blue oranges of the world that are coming up. मुझे कोई प्यार नहीं है. मैं बहुत ही खुश हूँ इसी t-shirt में as long as this gives me a good fit. So we need to find out what are the things that give you that permanent joy, and then stick to it and not move from there on. Like it says, when you're content with what you have now, an occasional treat can feel incredible. So I'm very content with my Starbucks ka life. But if I go to some other place which has a better coffee shop and give me better coffee, I'll be absolutely okay, and I'll be like, yeah, yaar, bada maza aaya mujhe us coffee shop mein jaake. But I will go back to my Starbucks at a point in time. So the joy will be temporary, but that's okay. And then he says, when you expect nothing, everything is a surprise, and that is something that I think is a very again important lesson um, uh, for me. That I expect nothing. मतलब मुझे लगता है कि सॉरी गाना याद आ रहा है, खाली याद आए थे खाली याद जाएंगे. मतलब I expect nothing, and each thing that I get which is a good thing, I feel a lot of joy from it, and I want to be able to live that joy on a day-to-day basis in terms of discovery of that. Okay, that is that. Uh, okay, then there's one more thing that he talks about, which I first I think read in Scott's book, where he talked about the formula for happiness. There is a book that he wrote, The Algebra of Life or Happiness, something he wrote, Scott Adams. This guy says, he says happiness, contentment, joy, all of these things come from experiencing a gap between expectation and reality. So बहुत simple है. Your reality, your happiness is equal to your expectation minus your reality, and that is where you need to be at. अगर expectation कम है, reality बढ़िया है, तुम अच्छा करोगे. अगर expectation बहुत ज़्यादा है, reality बहुत कम है, तो तुम struggle करोगे. So that is where the thought is. The next chapter is the rich and the wealthy. He says, if you're wealthy, you have a level of control over what that money does to your personality, your freedom, your desires, ambitions, moral, friendship, and mental health. So rich is great. मतलब तुम्हारे पास पैसे हैं, disposable income है, तुम जो करना चाहे कर सकते हो, तुम्हें जिससे मिलना है मिल सकते हो. But the wealth is when you are free to do what you want to do, wherein you can control your desires, wherein you can control who you want to spend time with. But if you're rich, you will probably still have to report to a boss or a manager that you don't like. But if you're wealthy, you can choose to be a hermit and not talk to anybody, and you will be okay with that. And that something is something that we have to chase. In fact, one of the lines I've written underlined here. Okay, I've moved on the line. Sorry about this. Super unprepared. Just to be okay. He's written a line that I've underlined, which is important for me. He says, "I'm happy when I'm doing is helping people, and unhappy when I'm not when I'm doing is not helping people." He says when he's helping other people, he's very very happy. When he's not helping other people, he's unhappy. So I think that's a very very true thing for me as well. In fact, most of my joy and pleasure comes from being of service to other people, and to be able to serve more people, I want to be able to have a larger platform to stand on so that I can reach more people. So this attempt is actually to find more platforms and more people to come to me and sort of offer my help to them. And this can only happen if I control my time and my independence 100%. And my money must become an enabler for that. If my money is not enabling that, I will not be able to do that at all. In fact, there's one more line that he's written. He says, in a relationship, you can't be happy with a partner if you can't be happy without them. And when I first read it, I actually took a pause and thought, कि हाँ यार, ये कैसे सकता है? The fact that all our lives we want to chase love, the perfect companion, etc., etc. And the fact that if I can't be happy without them, there's no way I'll be happy with them. So that is true with money also. If I'm not happy without money, I will never be happy with money. That brings me back to the same conversation again. That my baseline of happiness is the same. Money will take it up temporarily, bring it down temporarily, and then take it from there. So that's that. Um, then one of the lines that is important for me, I want to internalize this, and I'm guilty of not being doing this, is that I enjoy the things, but I don't want to obsess over them. I don't want them to control me. Often क्या होता है ना, there's a saying that goes, the things that you own end up owning you. I want to be able to say that I own nothing and I'm not attached to anything. मेरा मेरा सबसे prized possession, I'm okay to let go of that. एंड मेरा सबसे इग्नोरेंट पोजीशन, मतलब सबसे खराब पोजीशन जिसका मुझे ध्यान नहीं देना, आई एम ओके टू नॉट इवन वर्क ऑन दैट. मतलब मुझे ना अपनी लाइफ सिर्फ सिंपली जीनी है, और आई डोंट वांट टू बी अटैच्ड टू एनी ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट्स दैट आर टेम्पररी, that are ephemeral, and that's something that I want to get away from that. In fact that is true for all the other things that you want to work on. So for example, I'm not guided by the awards that I will get to win. I'm not guided by the 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 tari that I'll get or the car I will get. I'm just guided by doing my thing in my way, and then if I get the money and the award and the outcome as an outcome, I'm okay with that. But I don't do it with the intent of doing it. This live session, I'm not doing it with the intention of getting 1,000 people to listen to me. I'm doing it because this allows me to reflect on the book that I've read and practice my skills to be able to talk to a large audience over a digital platform. So I'm saying the money piece or the external piece is always the unintended outcome. For me, the intended outcome is the fact that I get to do things that I want to do, and then I want to maximize for that. Um, Warren Buffett is a quote. He quotes of Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger a lot. Warren Buffett says, if I get to my age in life, Warren is 95, I think, and nobody thinks well of you, I don't care how big your bank balance is, your life is a disaster. And that's something that I've been chasing all my life. That I cannot be ice cream, I cannot be pleasing everybody. But what I can do for sure is that I can ensure that a lot of people think highly of the fact that I was able to impact their lives and I was able to help them, and I was around when they needed me. And I think that is where I would want to include my life at. Okay, that brings me to chapter 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pause here. I didn't imagine that it will take me 45 minutes. Clearly, I underestimated this. So what we'll do is we'll take a pause on this session. I'll probably do another session sometime next time. I'll be better prepared with better mic, less background noise from a Starbucks, and probably better notes. Right now, just ripping through the notes, and I realize that this is not probably the best session that I've done. But whoever is tuned in, I do not know who all is there. YouTube doesn't tell me that. But Jobia, thank you so much. I will do the next session. Also, I'll finish this. But for the timing, this is it. And what I'll do is, if there are any questions, please type them in the chat window. And if there are any questions, they can take them up. Or otherwise, we can end the stream in the next 5 minutes. Any questions? Okay, no question. So I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much, whoever tuned in. Please give me feedback. You have my email, WhatsApp, Twitter. Please give feedback, help me improve, or let me know what you want to see from here on. And I hope we get to connect soon. Thank you. Bye.